Hey guys, I got a new video for you today, and we're going to be looking at a knife that I recently picked up while I was at Blade Show in Atlanta earlier this month. And you guys can see by the pouch here in front of you, this is from Kizer. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with Kizer knives, but while I was at the show, I went by the booth and they had a lot of really awesome new styles. So I actually ended up picking up a couple of those, and this one here, I started EDCing it right after Blade Show, and I found it very difficult for it to leave my pocket and rotate other knives in there, just because I really like some of the ergos and the look of the knife itself. So when you buy the knives from Kizer at the show, you actually don't get the boxes. They give you this pouch right here with the knife inside of it, which is fine by me. I don't end up keeping the boxes anyways, so the pouch was good enough for me. So this particular one is the Kizer Mini Roach, and I'll go ahead and show it to you guys. Inside of the pouch, you do have a little baggie here with some extra screws. So if you decide to, maybe take your knife apart to clean it or add some oil or something like that, and you end up losing a screw or something like that, I like the fact that they included, this bag with a couple of them in there. And then you also have a little microfiber cloth here. This is a branded microfiber cloth from Kizer. So that's cool. You can use that to kind of wipe off the fingerprints or oil or anything like that from the knife itself. So as I mentioned, and you saw by the title of the video, this is the Kizer Mini Roach. This is actually available in two different colors. You have a black G10 and then you have this kind of olive green G10. And I went with the olive green just because I don't have a lot of knives in that color. And the first thing that really attracted me to the knife was obviously the look of the G10, but also this kind of honeycomb pattern that you have on there, which is really, really interesting. It definitely I gravitated towards that knife because of that. Now, besides the green G10, you also have black hardware, so your screws right here and then your pivot screw are also black, and then your pocket clip is a nice low ride pocket clip, and it is black as well. I think it sets it off really, really nice. Now, the clip itself is tip up carry, but only right hand carry, so again, that's just something to keep in mind. And there is no lanyard hole on there. Now, I know they have this opening on the pocket clip so you can get to those screws, which are inset into the actual G10, which is nice. Sometimes people tend to kind of throw a lanyard on there, so you can do that if you want to. Now let me go ahead and go through a couple of the specs here. Again, this is olive green G10 on the handles. Now you do have a flipper tab right here. I'll go ahead and deploy the blade. So you have your overall length at 7.125 inches. Your blade length is actually 3 inches, but the cutting edge itself is 2.75 inches. Now, this is a 154 cm drop point flat ground blade, and this particular one is stone wash as well, so I think it gives it a really, really nice contrast look from the blade to the handle itself. The weight on this knife is 3.9 ounces, so again, it's not too bad. It carries really, really nice in the pocket, especially because of that deep ride pocket clip that you have there. So you do have some markings on the blade. You have the Kizer logo right there, then 154 cm on that side, and then on the other side, I like the fact that Kizer actually puts the name of all their knives on there. So this one is the Mini Roach, and this particular one is a Matt Deanna design. I'm not too familiar with his designs, but if they're anything like this, I think he did a really awesome job. Now, I do know that there's a larger version of this knife, but I tend to gravitate towards smaller size knives. They're easier for me to carry in my EDC, so this one was perfect for that. So as far as the blade goes, you do have, as I mentioned, it is a drop point flat ground stone wash blade. You do have a swedge up here, which is really nice. I love the look of that blade. It just looks really, really awesome. As I mentioned, you do have the flipper tab right here. The flipper tab actually sticks out quite a bit from the top of the knife there, but you do have some jimping in the front of the tab and then on the top of the tab also, which is really nice because you can actually push in to deploy the blade if you want to. So that jimping on the top actually, grabs your finger there, or you can actually pull back to deploy it. Either way, it works perfectly fine. You also have a thumb hole right here, which you can use to use your thumb and open up the blade if you don't want to scare anybody by flipping it open, or you can also spidey flick it in case that is your preferred method of opening the blade. Now, one other thing that I thought was really, really cool, and I'm hoping that I can show it. So the flipper tab right here, as you guys can see, there's a bit of a line right there. If you do decide to disassemble the knife, you can actually remove the flipper tab. So if you live in a country that you're not allowed to have flipper knives, you can still, go ahead and purchase the Mini Roach and then remove the flipper tab. You'll just have to go ahead and open up the blade with the thumb hole there. So again, using your thumb in a couple of different ways, you can go ahead and do that very, very easily. So I think all in all, this is a great, great knife, especially for EDC purposes. My hand fits really, really nice on this handle. I wear size large gloves, but my fingers are a little bit thinner. They're not that thick. And mine rest perfectly where they're supposed to go. You have, the different grooves right there, even the one for the pinky back here. My pinky fits in there perfectly. You do have this area on the front here. So if you do want to choke up on the blade, if you're going to be doing something more intricate or something like that, you can go ahead and choke up there, and then you still have more than enough room in the back for the rest of your fingers to be able to fall into the handle and fit perfectly nice. Again, I love the coloration of this one. I saw the black one. The black one actually has a darker colored blade also, so it's very dark, but the collar on the pivot it's kind of like a lighter color, and then the backspacer is light also. But I decided to go with the green just because I really, really like it. Speaking of the backspacer, you do have this G10 backspacer here. I like the fact that they did these lines through it because it kind of matches the honeycomb pattern here. If they would have left it kind of plain, I think it would have not looked so nice. You also have skeletonized stainless steel liners on the inside, and there is a little bit of jimping right here where your liner lock, where you go to disengage it. Nice lockup, no blade play whatsoever. And the last thing is this knife came razor sharp out of the box, which is expected of some nicer knives. And I didn't even have to touch it up or anything like that. It was, hair popping sharp. So obviously it was a win for me. So I wanted to go ahead and show it to you guys just because it was my first experience at a knife from this designer. Again, a lot of people tend to know about him because I know there was a lot of folks looking at this knife both in the OD green and in the black color while I was at Blade Show. So I was glad that I was able to pick it up. And as I mentioned, I've been carrying it pretty much ever since as part of my EDC. And I found it very difficult to rotate it out just because of the size. For EDC purposes, it's perfect. It fits my hand really nice, and it just looks really, really nice. So if you guys are interested, you can probably find these knives out there at any of your local knife retailers or online retailers for right around $75. So I think for what you're getting here, I think that is a really, really good deal. So again, this was just a look at the Kizer Mini Roach in the olive green G10 color here. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.